Hi guys, how are we? Happy Wednesday. Today, talking about perspective, but in layers. Now, in music, there's tons of layers. Harmony, melody, rhythm, direction, and direction is both vertical and horizontal. So, let's get right into it. Hey guys, and today we'll be doing some perspective shifts. Where I was driving today. I volunteer at the hospital as usual, and I noticed something on my windshield never noticed before, just small little cracks. And on my windshield there's a huge crack. I should really get fixed, or a new one at least, but that's another story for another time. Right now we got to focus on the first layer, which is that big crack. The second layer, the bugs, the dirtiness, whatever else. The third layer, maybe the handprints on the windshield from like getting rid of the condensation. And then the fourth layer, those little micro cracks they can only see in certain light. And the fifth layer, the windshield itself. And the biggest layer, kind of like a triangle here we got going on, is the world throughout it, right? What we can see through it. And that's a lot of layers that I just kind of dissected from a windshield. Now imagine that, but in the grander scope of things, right? In the grander scope of things, where what are we looking at through our eyes? That's the seventh layer in this, our eyes. Eighth layer is the brain and how it perceives what we see. And when you either zoom in all the way to the smallest little perspective we've got going on, or widen it so big, right? The clouds, the distant stars, the faint moon. How wide or how narrow are our perspectives? So, we're going to be reading out of the Bible today. Well, like just not God's promises, but the Bible. And it'll be out of 2 Corinthians. I should have got there. I don't know why I didn't. And it's going to be chapter 4, verses 17 18. Let's read it. For this light, momentary affliction is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory beyond all comparison. As we look not to the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient, but the things that are unseen are eternal. Now, wow. What can we see just by looking around us? And what can't we see? Is that a new layer, perhaps beyond all that we've talked about thus far? And I really like that, where I noticed the windshield today. What haven't I noticed? I really have to almost narrow my perspective, because everything, it gets loud in the world. And it kind of shifts our focus, where if I narrow my focus in the moment on prayer and that God is next to me, always guiding me. I can see things that, you wouldn't otherwise just recognize because I'm a believer. And the atheist doesn't have that. They don't have that guidance. They reject it, right? Because it's always an offer that as soon as you accept it off that table of God's mercy and you stick with it, and God's mercy, His grace, His love, His joy becomes a part of you, right? And that's a process, of course. We talked about processes before, but just right now, what are you seeing around you? How much of the world do you recognize truly? And apart from that, who are you when you see a widened perspective? And who are you when you see a very narrow kind of perspective? And this is in the terms of just focus, right? Mentally, a narrow perspective is one that is not as open to new ideas, and rather a wide perspective is. And depending on how much you know yourself is depending on how much that affects you, right? But right now, God is telling me, and you guys out of the Bible right now, is just to really shift your perspective onto things that are unseen, that new layer that is quite hard to recognize, right? Because it takes faith, and faith is hard, it's dangerous, right? It's risky, it's something that not a lot of people take to because it's hard. And in Christianity, we don't do easy things, right? God didn't, Jesus didn't. So just take that as a sign, where, wow, in times where it gets busy, and the loudness and the cacophony of the world might get to me or you, but in these moments we can just, breathe in and out and just remind ourselves to be in the moment, Yahweh, right? Yahweh. It's kind of representative of breath, Yahweh, in and out, right? That really just helps too, because you can feel, in that moment, right? But apart from that, you don't have to feel, you just have to see. And I hope you guys see it, and that'll be all for today. Just a nice little simple video. So hope you guys take care, but here's to tomorrow. Bye.